All right, let's go. Vegas Sports Underground. Welcome back, friends. This is your host, Justin Webster, and today I have my guest with me, Devon Monty, who goes by Monty, local MMA fighter here in Las Vegas. Trying to have a big year in 2024. Appreciate you sitting down with us, Monty. How did training go today?
Training was pretty good. I got a lot of good live rounds in and some jiu-jitsu with a lot of good guys and got some good work in.
Awesome. Well, we're going to learn more about Monty, but first, let's hear from our sponsors, which, of course, is Insure and Protect, who's going to take care of all of your final processes that you're going to need before you kick the bucket. And then, of course, Vegas. I always say Vegas. It's Poker Life Designs here in Las Vegas. They're going to take care of all of your mugs, t-shirts, fun poker style lifestyle quotes and sayings and phrases that you can show to all your friends. Again, Devon Monty is our guest today, so let's jump right into it. Monty, let's talk about your stats a little bit. In fighting, it kind of matters. So what's your size? How tall? What's your weight? What class do you fight in?
I am 5'9", which is tall for my weight class. I fight at 125, which is flyweight.
Coincidentally, you're the same size as my ex-wife. So I'll call her up. I don't know if you could take her, but we'll see.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But yeah, so 125 flyweight, 5'9". So I do have a pretty good solid height for my weight class, and I got a good base. So.
And you played sports growing up. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Let's talk about that. Where are you from, born and raised? And we'll talk about what got you out to Las Vegas.
Yeah, so born and raised Lowell, Massachusetts. A long way from Las Vegas. All the way up till I was 19 years old, I was in Lowell, stood in one spot.
Right.
I played every sport you can possibly think of growing up. Football, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, everything you can think of, I've probably played it. Growing up. So I was a very athletic kid, always active, always outside, always doing sports, always doing stuff.
Let's talk about that. Do you have any memories as a child? We've spoken many times, but just being a rambunctious kid, I could tell you all kinds of nightmares from my mom's trying to corral me. Anything that sticks out where your rambunctiousness kind of pointed to where this might lead to your future?
Not really. I never ever saw me fighting when I was young. I was always just a nice person, just very to myself, very calm, if you would say, very, which I still am. I guess it didn't really translate too much into fighting. But I always just saw myself, playing those basketball, football, playing baseball. I was really big into baseball when I was young. So if anything, I saw myself going more the baseball route than any other route.
A lot of those sports, the kids are rather competitive. Do you think it's a benefit that you've always kind of been more even-keeled? And a lot of people assume fighters are quick-tempered people, but being from Iowa County, Iowa myself, home of a lot of great wrestlers who are actually doing their wrestling thing for state championships this weekend, it tends to be the ones more even-keeled who can then afford to go into legitimate fights, right? Because if you're just out there fighting every person, you're more of a street corner guy who's going to end up in jail or something. So talk about that temperament a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. When you're in MMA and you're fighting, competing in any martial art, you are most likely calm, collected. You're not temperamental. You're actually the complete opposite. You're very easygoing most of the time. I'm talking for the majority.
Right.
Most of the time, though, you're very cool, you're very collected, you're very calm, very competitive. I'm incredibly competitive with every single thing I ever do, but calm while I do it. I don't let my emotions get the best of me. I'm not an angry person, and neither is almost anybody I train with or know.
Right.
Fight.
So you're a rambunctious kid, a lot of high energy, but you don't see anything leaning towards aggression per se. Talk a little bit about what your last kind of few years looked like in Massachusetts. What were you doing before you headed out this way?
Yeah, so I started training back when I was 16. That's when I first got into training. Found a local boxing and jiu-jitsu gym. Got a lot of good work in there. Learned a lot of the fundamentals of jiu-jitsu, a lot of the fundamentals of boxing, where I then went up to New Hampshire and trained at a place called PMA, Professional Martial Arts Academy in Derry. Great gym, taught me MMA instead of just boxing and jiu-jitsu. I learned the Muay Thai, I learned the wrestling, I learned karate, taekwondo, I learned it all, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, everything. And that's where I learned the majority of my beginning fundamentals of fighting until I ended up moving out here back when I was 19.
At this point, are you still just trying to gain knowledge, or are you thinking that you ever want to put this into action?
I'd say probably about 2 to 3 months of me training when I was 16 is when I knew I wanted to actually pursue it and compete in a competitive level.
And not to speak against anyone ill-willed wise, but are you glad that you're a little bit older now that you're actually getting into the fighting things, so you're not just kind of a possibly a temperamental teenager?
Yeah, well, I did a fight when I was 18. My first ever fight I signed up for when I was 18 years old. And I was very calm during it. Felt very natural, felt at home, if you would say.
Mhm.
It was the best experience ever walking out. It was just amazing. I'm glad I did it. That's what really kicked me into wanting to compete, like 100%. Like I knew I wanted to when I was younger. Once I turned 18 and I can legally do it, I signed up for one to make sure it's what I really wanted to do when I was older. And as soon as I did that fight, it's all I ever wanted to do.
Now, I'm 41, a little bit older than you, but I can remember a lot of Mike Tyson's walkouts in the 90s. You have Method Man with I Bring the Pain, things like that. Tell us a little bit about the excitement and the exhilaration or whatever it is going through you when you're doing that walkout. What leads up to it? And then when you actually walk out, is there always music? Have you picked that music? Is that the music that gets you excited, focused? What's the mindset behind that?
Yeah, you pick your own song. You pick your walkout song. At least where I was fighting at a combat zone MMA, you're behind a curtain. You hear your song come on. The person behind the curtain with the camera. That's when they tell you to come out. You break the seal. You walk out there, and you get out and you start. You do your walk to the cage. Lights are on. Music's blaring. Everyone's screaming, cheering. Your family's all there. They're
Even
watching.
a calm guy like you, is it hard to stay focused in that moment, or what's going on?
Honestly, it's not as hard as you would think. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement that goes in there, but you've trained so long and you're so ready for it that you're kind of like in your zone. Like a lot of things get like blacked out. Like the walk down there, I'm seeing my family, I'm saying hi, like I'm
Right.
still there. As soon as I step actually in the cage and I'm stepping in there, I can't hear the music anymore. I can't hear the crowd. I'm zoned in. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go.
Hyper focus.
Yeah.
And something that would interest me, what's your pregame meal for something like that? Are you eating light? Are you eating heavy? Do you want to fight angry? Do you want to fight full of nutrients? What's the strategy? I know you've only had one fight, but you're familiar with the lifestyle.
Yeah, no, 100%. You do your weight cut. When I'm cutting weight, I'm eating grilled chicken and broccoli. I don't even like broccoli. It's just so good for you that I force feed myself to eat it. So grilled chicken and broccoli for night. In the morning, I got like a bowl of oatmeal, maybe a banana. Throughout the day, I don't eat anything. So it's just those two meals. Maybe I'll munch on some almonds or something just to get me through the day. A lot of water, constantly intaking water so you can shed that water weight. Once you're done with your weigh-in, which is usually the day before the fight, that's when you have that good meal. I'll go get a steak. Mm-hmm. Something still healthy. I'm not going to go eat.
You're not eating 4 bags of Doritos.
Yeah, donuts and pizza and wake up the morning of. But, I'm going to go get a nice little steak dinner with some rice or something, something good for you, something healthy, but to put my weight and get my energy back before the fight. Day of, probably same thing, bowl oatmeal in the morning, something healthy, maybe a couple eggs or something, just something a little healthy.
So I know it's not easy, especially someone like me who doesn't think this way, but try to take us into the ring. You get there, there's an opponent who's also trained, obviously, benevolently to get in front of you as well. You see each other as the enemy on some capacity. And then what's kind of going through your head, whether it's even here in training, when you're actually lining up against someone else, you don't have someone to pass the ball to or to catch the ball you throw. It's you and them. And growing up in a wrestling community, I know that that's very polarizing in a sense of you're kind of out there on your own island. How does it feel when you're fighting someone?
Yeah, when you get in the cage and you're actually physically in there, that's the easy part.
Your eyes say it all.
Yeah, that's the easy part, honestly. The training's the hard part. That's where your teammates put you really through the ringer. You get the reps in, you get grinded out. They're going to put the work on you. When you actually get in the cage, it feels easy at that point. It is still intimidating regardless. I mean, you're in there with somebody else who's trying to physically harm you, and you're going in there to knock somebody out. Like you're going in there to put somebody's lights out. And
right.
They're in there to do the same thing to you. So you got to always be extra wary. Your teammates aren't trying to knock you out. Mm-hmm. He is. So it's a little bit different, but it's a lot easier when you get in the cage than it is during training.
Do you have a strategy, or will you have a strategy? You have a big year coming up. Obviously, it'll probably depend on your opponent. But with all the chaos in the ring itself, Is it easy to follow a strategy? Or are you really just looking for windows of opportunity, or what are you looking for?
It's a little bit of both. You definitely have a strategy. You have a game plan going in there, but you always have to have that plan B, C, D, E, because it's a fight. It's never going to go your way every time. I'm always trying to keep it on the feet. I'm a striker regardless. I'm a striker at heart. I know how to wrestle. I know how to do jiu-jitsu, but I'm going to try and keep it up top as much as I can. But there are times where you get tripped. You're on the floor, and now plan A is out the window.
The other guy might assume is an opportunity for them since you're so strong on your feet.
Yeah. And then now you're in plan B. Now you're in plan B of get the hell up.
Right.
They're going to try and get you down, keep you down. You got to get up. Or plan C. Maybe there's a submission there. He leaves his neck out, and I can grab a quick little guillotine choke, and I can get something else there. So it's always give and take. Try and take what you can in the moment. Try and just be chaotic sometimes. It's a fight. It's chaos. You're just trying to emerge through the chaos.
So after a fight like that, I know, again, you're at this point in your career more into the training mode, but let's say at the end of a long day of training, how much time does it take to actually recuperate? I know you work out every day, but you have planned recuperation time built into your day, right?
Yeah, 100%. When I get home, very big on after a long training day, I always do my recovery. I take my shower, get cleaned up. Don't want any infections or anything that go on.
That might be something people don't think about is they think, oh, you just stink, you need to work out. But your body is your temple. You need a clean, pure body, just like you'd clean your race car or your boat or something so it can smooth through the water. You need to be fully healthy and energetic 100%. In that sense.
The second I get home, first thing on my mind, immediately straight in the shower, clean up. Don't need no ringworm. Don't need staph infections. Don't need just germs from other people getting colds or they might have a cold that they don't know about. And immediately get cleaned up. I always wear full rash guards so I don't end up getting cut and anything pop up. So that's the first thing I do. After that, depending on the day, by the end of the week, if it's a Saturday, probably take an ice bath to get the whole week done, clean up, get
ice bath. People don't realize outside of sports how that can be such, like you use the word rejuvenator for everything. It can kind of force your body into a shock of repair, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's all it's there for. It's there to repair your body, to let your body regenerate, recover. There's a bunch of other benefits too. It helps with your sleep. It helps with everything. It aids in so much your blood flow, everything. So I'm big on taking ice baths. Cryotherapy I'll go to sometimes, which is just a way better version because you don't get wet. I do saunas, get all those toxins out, let the heat get in. Just always get my 8-9 hours of sleep. Always eat healthy. Just take care of my body.
Let's talk about that. We've known each other around Las Vegas before, and a lot of people assume that everybody who lives in Las Vegas is just cocaine and hookers, for lack of a better term. And I've said to people, if you can avoid cocaine and hookers, you can have a decent career here, no matter what you want to do in Vegas. Remind people, this is a real city, and you have responsibilities, right? It just as if you were in Lowell. This isn't sunshine. You're not out with BJ Penn and crazy MMAers who are all night fighting and doing your thing. You're not street fighting and drinking tequila till 3 a.m. Yeah. It's a very regimented lifestyle, is it not?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I still go to work, regular job. I go there 8-9 hours a day. Come back. I usually have time to make it home where I'll grab a quick little before the gym.
And you have a regular job. You don't just karate chop logs for a living, right?
Yeah, no. I'm not in here 24/7. This does not pay the bills quite yet.
Right.
So I do my normal job. I go there, work my job. Usually can make it home in time before my couple classes. Have a quick little snack, get some energy, grab a water, drive on down to the gym, and then I'm in here for the next couple hours, work out, go home, go to sleep, repeat.
Let's talk about the time you spend here. Syndicate MMA, you've been a member for a while. I know that it's a meaningful place for you. So talk a little bit about the camaraderie and then maybe some of your sponsors, including Syndicate, that's helped you out here.
Yeah, no, Syndicate's been amazing. This is the best gym I've ever been to. It's not even close. They all treat you so well. Everyone's so nice here. All the coaches are amazing. The other fighters help you out all the time. You have some of the best world-class fighters here, champions, former champions, gonna probably be champions.
This guy.
There's just so much amazing talent around. There's so much amazing people.
And there's a lot of respect that goes into not only the sport, but around here. We were doing our kind of pre-chat, just kind of catching up. People, your friends will stop, say hello, congratulate you, give you props on a great workout, but then apologize for interference. There's a lot of respect. You see them bowing to the cages when they leave and the workout areas. There's just a lot of respect for the entire existence of the sport, right?
Yeah, it's all about respect at the end of the day. Even your opponents, it's all respect. You always respect your opponents. Anyone who gets in there has my respect. Anyone who trains with me has my respect. Anyone who's been in a fight, competitive fight in a cage, and will always have my respect.
So outside of the ring, friends, family, lovers and friends, who is your support staff? I know your family's back home. You have siblings and you have a girlfriend that's very much a part of your life. Talk a little bit about your support staff and how they've, I know you're only going to be 25 this year, but you're still a young guy, but they've been supporting you for nearly a decade with this, right?
Yeah. My family's been a huge support. My dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, all my friends and family back at home. My girlfriend out here has been a huge support. Her family's been a huge support for me, as well as all my friends I met along the way at my various jobs have all been huge support to me as well, including you.
And one thing, it's not your story, but I do find it is one of the interesting things about you. Remind everybody who doesn't know what brought you out here. You made a friend in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And that is now your
Girlfriend.
right? And you moved across country to kind of chase a dream with someone that you had built a rapport with and a relationship. And I think that's cool. Talk a little bit about that. What were you doing there? Were you were training obviously there, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously working and playing video games. And how did that come about?
Yeah, I was training regularly. I was working a job. I was in a warehouse driving a forklift.
Of course you were.
Yeah. playing video
How are you going to be a
games.
future MMA champ if you're not in Lowell, Massachusetts, working on a fucking forklift?
Yeah, but they all do it. All of them, some kind of blue
You
collar
got to
job.
build that repertoire, right?
100%. Yeah, playing video games though. Playing video games. I met my current girlfriend. We've been together for almost 5 years now. Met her playing video games. Ended up moving out here to be with her. Her family took me in, let me get a base, get a job,
Right.
get everything set before I ended up moving out. So very thankful for them, very thankful for that. And then once I got out here and I got my base set, my apartment, I got everything set is when I took my training that I had out there. And then I finally got into a gym out here and finally started training and getting back into it.
And now you're ready for a big year in 2024. Once again, your host, Justin Webster, sitting with Devon Monty, or as he goes by, Monty the Python. Looking for a big year in 2024. Tell them about what you're trying to get on the calendar for you fight-wise.
Yeah, the goal for sure is to get at least two, but hopefully 3 or maybe even 4 fights, depending how the fights go. Just kind of, blast through the amateur scene, knock everybody out in my way, climb the ladder so I can make it to the pro scene and start my official career, my pro career, hopefully sometime next year, in the next 2 years or so.
This might be a stupid question because it's very hypothetical and it's really hard to know, especially without being able to look into the future. As you mentioned, your fight career doesn't start professionally until you become professional, right? So anything you still have amateur-wise isn't going to count against you. You mentioned 3 or 4 fights, and I know in previous conversations you said you can learn a lot more from a loss than a win. If you had 4 fights, is that because they're probably all fairly easy? And with you being early in your career, would you almost prefer to go through 2 tough losses than 4 good wins? Or how do you balance trying to get knowledge while still building a positive fight resume?
Yeah, well, you're always gaining knowledge. Your wins, but you do learn more from your losses. You'll always learn more from your losses. You learn a lot in the gym. The goals, I'd rather win everything I do.
Of course.
Rather go in there and knock everybody out right away.
Right.
That way it's nice and easy and good on me.
For the next 50 fights, and let's just retire then.
Yeah. But as far as fighting, 4 fights, you could be in amateurs. There are amateurs who have 10 to 15 fights and they're still amateurs. I know a couple of guys who went pro after 2 amateur fights and one of them was a loss. It's all just on the opportunity that comes about. Right. You could be sitting there amateur with 3 fights and then a card comes up in your town, and then a pro fighter has to pull out because of an injury, and they call you.
Right.
And then they're like, hey, do you want to make your pro debut? Do you want to fight for our organization? And then you hop in and you fight there. That's how a lot of UFC fighters become. They come in on hopping in short notice
Right.
to take over for an undercard fight or something, and then that's where they get into the scene and they start fighting.
So looking for a big year, basically a couple fights, and then future-wise, 10 years down the road, if everything goes your way, and I know that's easy to just assume that would be the way it goes, and that's not life, but what would be 5, 10 years down the road, whether it's all sunshine and rainbows or something more realistic?
5, 10 years down the road to go for sure. My roadmap for the most part, next year or two, blast through the amateur scene. After that, get some pro fights under my belt, 2-3 a year. Try and make it to the big leagues, UFC, PFL, Bellator, something of the sorts, within the next 5 years or so. Before I'm 30 and I turn 25 this year, I'd like to be in one of those big promotions, one of the big three.
And what do you still need to do between now and then, besides the obvious? We can all imagine you need to train more. For you specifically, what is the angles that you need to tighten up so you can be as proficient as possible?
The angles for sure would be my ground game. My stand-up game, I feel very confident in. Anytime I'm in the stand-up, I feel proficient. I feel where I need to be. The ground game's where I need to tighten up a little bit of stuff. Get my cardio just a little bit better. My cardio has been improving significantly, though, so my cardio is not bad whatsoever. But it can be better, especially in those wrestling exchanges. It's when I get tired. Stand-up, I can go all day. I'll spar 30, 40 rounds. No issues about it. But as soon as I get one wrestling round in, that's it for me. So let's get some wrestling rounds in. Let's get the ground game tightened up. Let's get all that going before I start thinking about that pro debut.
Nice. So when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, I wrestled one tournament, 3 matches, and I got pinned all 3 times. One time by my good buddy who ended up wrestling at 160 in high school. He pinned me in, let's say, 5 seconds. I know on your feet you could take me out. In a fight, how quick you get me? Are you going to get me faster than my buddy in less than 5 seconds? I know I got a lot of weight. How do you go for, let's say that they're like, we're going to give you $1 million if you can take this guy out, and it's me. What's the quickest way you get me down, Monty?
Not 5 seconds, I'll tell you that much. Those 5 seconds.
I know the first hit you get me, I'm down. How do you just get me pinned at that point? Because I'm going to be down in 1 second. I might just go down. I don't know if you could flip me over in 5 seconds. But so what's the biggest guy? Obviously, I have 160 pounds on you. What's the biggest guy? What do kind of the weights run? You're 125-ish. What would be the biggest person you could fight?
That I would fight in an actual cage fight environment, trained fighter.
Right, with set weights and all that.
The most I would ever go up to would be 145.
Which is the whole next weight class,
That's 2 weight classes up.
Okay.
There's 135, then 125. I would not.
Oh, yeah, because you're only 125.
I would not want to do 145, but that's the weight I feel I could actually reach without unhealthily reaching it.
So realistically, you're actually only going to fight someone that's 5 or 6 pounds difference in weight, because you'd be talking about jumping full weight classes.
Yeah, so I don't want to.
They're not going to put a 125 and a 140 guy in there and say, "Here's 10,000, fight for it."
No, not at all. So like me being at 125, most people probably cut down from in the amateurs. Honestly, probably only cut down from 130 to 135.
Right.
Once you get past that and you get into the 140, 145, that's usually what the pros are cutting.
And you're pretty tall for 125 pounds. A lot of 125 pounders are 5'6" and thick. Right?
I mean, you got Demetrius Johnson, who is the greatest 125, arguably greatest fighter of all time. He's, I believe, 5'4".
Right.
And he's 125, so I'd have 5 inches on him. Regardless, I mean, he'd whoop my ass up and down any way, shape, form.
They might weigh the same, but those are 2 different sized marshmallows.
But yeah, but I still got 5 inches on him, so I am tall for my weight class. For sure.
Right. All right, so remind people before we head out again, Devon Monty goes by Monty the Python. I'm your host, Justin Webster. We appreciate you joining us here on Vegas Sports Underground. Monty, remind the people who are going to see you fight this year, why are you a good guy to root for other than just you're a good guy?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that. I'm a good guy. I'm very humble, very respectful for everyone and everything possible. I'm always helping my teammates out, being a good teammate, being a good person. Just very, very humble, kind, nice person.
And you just kind of dust in the wind, and the breeze just kind of blows past you, Monty, doesn't it? A
Yeah,
bit.
just go with the flow kind of person,
Until you
get it
get him
going.
in the ring.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, one hit and I'd be down.
Then I get in there and the violence takes over, and all I'm looking to do is break someone's face, and that's what I'm there to do.
See? All right. Once again, Devon Monty the Python, local MMA fighter here in Las Vegas, up and coming. A big year for him in 2024, and sitting down with us here on Vegas Sports Underground. Thanks so much, Monty.
Thank you.
Good luck, bud.
Thank you.
Peace.